I think a lot of business people miss how much waste there is inside of our company. So when we were building 1-800-GOT-JUNK, I was the COO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK, took them from 14 people to 3,100 employees in 6 years. We had at the leadership team a financial review meeting every 3 months, and the leadership team reviewed the general ledger, which is every expense on the P&L. So we looked at every expense in entertainment, every expense in travel, we looked at all the credit card bills. And as a team, we discussed stuff that kind of jumped out at us. We looked at software licenses 24 years ago. So there's so much waste that they're cutting right now that I think both the left and the right have to look at that and go, yeah, it's pretty hard to argue 95% of that waste is really waste. And I think there's a good lesson in there for entrepreneurs is to be very ruthless and to inspect what you expect. And I think it's very hard for an entrepreneur to go out to their company and keep saying, oh, we need to get more revenue. The only reason you need to get more revenue is to pay for all the stupid expenses that you don't really need in your company. And in government to say we need more taxes. No, we don't need any more taxes. In fact, if we operated properly, if we operated efficiently, we could probably reduce the taxes. So one of the big reasons why I exited Canada 10 years ago and then left the US 4 years ago, I'm now a resident of Dubai. My company is based in Dubai. It's because the royal family that owns the country doesn't allow for any waste, right? They don't allow for the frivolous spending. And I think there's something that's really good that's happening there. The founder of College Pro Painters said, a leader has to say no more often than they say yes. And it's very difficult to say no. It's very difficult when we're trying to be inclusive, we're trying to let people's ideas matter. But I think good companies have learned the skill of being able to say no because we can't afford it, no because it's not attached to our strategy, no because it's not aligned with our core values, no because it's not aligned with our current cash flow. Government has said yes to everything. They've said yes because it's easier to say yes. They don't piss anyone off. It's easier to say yes because they don't have to pay the bills. It's easier to say yes because somebody else is constantly giving them more money. It's easier to say yes because they buy themselves votes. It's easier to say yes. And the top 2% are only making $300,000 a year or more, which means 98% of the people basically are kind of middle class or lower class. So it's easy for 98% of people to say tax the rich. There's not more money to get. In a business, you can't say, well, just go get more revenue. It's really hard to get revenue. So business people and homeowners, if you're a normal homeowner, you can't say, well, let's just go borrow more money. The bank won't loan to you, right? So you have to live within your means. So I've taught my kids to save 50% of all the money they ever make when they're living at home has to get invested. When they move out, 20% of all the money they have to make has to get invested. I'm teaching them that mentality, teaching them as a business, right? Take a portion of your money, invest in growth. Take a portion of your money, invest in savings. Take a portion of your money and decide where to spend it. Use zero-based budgeting. So if a business operated the way government does, we'd be bankrupt every single year. So good businesses operate with a level of rigor that is very different. You can't just go out and borrow money from the bank because you got to pay that money back. So I think we're going to go through a period of tough times. And I think businesses have to recognize that and have to operate that way. If you haven't already, come check out the Second in Command podcast on YouTube. It's at YouTube/@Second in Command podcast. One of the things business people have to do is teach their management team how to say no. And most early stage managers, first time, second time managers, their answer to every problem tends to be hire more people. That's really never the solution to the problem. It's being able to look at the budget and saying, wait, what does this idea do? Does it make our employees happier? Does it make our customers happier? Does it drive more gross margin? Does it drive more revenue? Is it making our vivid vision come true? If it's not, why are we doing it, right? Or why are we doing it now? And I think that's where government has gotten so lazy is they just say yes to everything. They're spending all this money that isn't even theirs, and then they're printing more money to pay it all back. And most humans don't even understand the difference between a debt and a deficit, right? The interest right now on our debt takes up about 40% of the revenue. If you were a homeowner, that means let's say you're paid $100,000 a year, $40,000 a year is just to pay your interest on your credit cards, and then you got to live on this. You'd all be bankrupt. What are the critical few expenses we need? What are the critical few employees that we need? Most of our companies can produce 50% of the output with the square root of our number of employees. If you're running with 100 employees, it's really 10 people are producing 50% of your output. Or even the Pareto principle of 20% of your people, so let's say 20 employees out of the 100 are producing 80% of your output. You can look at that other 80% and go, why are we even doing it? Do we need to do this work? Are we just busy being busy? Are we busy doing work that isn't producing any gross margin, right? And I think that's the stuff that I've always been really kind of maniacal about.